And welcome back. You're here to Manifesting Your Dreams. It's a beautiful day in Las Vegas, and we're just sharing some ideas with Chelsea here. Chelsea has an incredible story because she grew up with a lot of challenges, and then at one point she said, you know what, I want my life to be a little bit different, right? And she took responsibility for her life, which unfortunately a lot of people nowadays, they don't, right? They say like, oh, well, you know, I have all this situation here. But when you take responsibility for your life, I believe that's the moment we're no longer teenagers or kids, and we really become adults, right? When we say, you know what, whatever happens in my life happens, but I can do something about it, right? And that's what we go over every week. We want to inspire you. Think about what would you like to make your life? What would you like to become, right? Because we all have a little bit more. I really believe if we are alive, if we're given the gift of another day, that means we have more to achieve, we have more to experience, because sometimes it's not about achievement, it's just about being happy today, wherever we are, right? And then also to make a contribution to other people. And that's the reason we put this program together in social media shows, because we want to inspire you, start dreaming again, right? It's like we're going through some tough times in our country nowadays. There's a lot of division, there's a lot of challenges, but that doesn't mean we couldn't start dreaming again and getting together, getting our ideas together. How can we make things happen? And it's very interesting because I met over the years, my life was a little bit tough because when I was 3, we moved to another country, right? So I left all my family that I love so much, all my cousins, and then I went to a place where I really wasn't very sure I like it, you know, being so young. And then when I kind of like started liking it, you know, a few years later, we moved to another country, right? And I was always kind of like the guy that was visiting, right? I was never from the in crowd, if you will, right? So by the time I got to Vegas, I was used to, but I really like it in Vegas because everybody here is from somewhere else, right? So it was like, oh my God, everybody from somewhere else. So we had something in common. And then it's one of the nice things here in Vegas, meeting somebody like you, right? So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're doing in our community, because I know we have Las Vegas. There's a lot outside of the strip, right? You can go on hike. There's some beautiful places that you can actually go on hikes, and you can do meditations and things like that. So share a little bit about some of the things that you like to do, and how has that impacted other people as well?
Oh gosh. Well, a lot of people think of Las Vegas and they just think of the Strip, but you know, I've found that there's so many other things, like nature, for example. I love going to Red Rock, going for hikes, and it's been a real passion of mine taking people out there and letting them experience the outdoors and getting away from the buzz and the constant noise of the casinos and the electronics and the phones and just constant noise. And for me, it's been a very therapeutic thing, going out and running on the trails and just getting those endorphins and the dopamine flowing. And so I like to reach out to people who are struggling with addiction, depression, anxiety, and I take them on these hikes, and I have them climb up somewhere, and then we do these little exercises where we kind of we scream and get all of these fears
Get it out, right?
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that,
exactly.
Right?
And the topic today, we're talking about fear a bit, and for me, I can get so stuck in my head that it keeps me from following my dreams, showing up for life, and I find that a lot of other people can relate to that. And when we're getting these endorphins flowing and we're doing this physical activity, it's kind of releasing that and allowing us to be more present in the moment. And so after we're done screaming and getting all our fears out, I really encourage people to take a moment and meditate or pray, and I kind of walk away and let them do that on their own. And then afterwards, I want them to be ready to take on the day and whatever is out there. Other things that I do, I like to just reach out to anyone with addiction and try to work with them one-on-one and see how we can improve together. I try to share my experience with them and show how I've overcome some of these difficulties. And I also, I don't know, I'm kind of all over the place, jack of all trades, if you will. I take people on trips sometimes, I plan it out. I want people to have a really good experience in every aspect of their life. And so for me, sometimes it's taking them on a hike, sometimes it's taking them to another country. And I really like social media. I love photography. I love writing. And for me, I like to share the experiences that I have because I travel a lot. And it's never, my intention is never to rub that in anyone's face or anything. It's just I want to inspire people to be more, do more, grow. Don't hold back. Just say yes to that trip. Take chances and understand that it's not always glamorous. Sometimes it's sleeping in hostels, sleeping in, I don't know, airports, and that's okay. It's fun. I want people to enjoy the journey. So,
yeah, it's so interesting you mentioned that because some of the best times I had were in sleeping in places like that. You know,
Yeah.
it was oh, and then you realize that some of the things that we want they're not really that important, right?
Yeah.
Because like I've been at a very very expensive hotel rooms, and I'm
Yeah.
going like, and after you go there and you take a couple, then you go like, that's it. It's like
Yeah.
something is missing, right?
And those are nice too. Those are great too. But
Yeah.
there's something about those gritty little hostels and
Yeah.
sharing a cup of noodles with butter with a bunch of strangers on some island, you know, outside of Cambodia. I don't know. It's the little things
Yeah,
that I
or you
enjoy.
traveling and there's no rooms in this place and it's late because the plane was late and you got there too late and you have to go somewhere else or whatever, you know. It's like it's really fun, and those are the things that really keep us alive, right?
I think so.
That
I
is
agree.
that is fantastic, and just so you know, it's like everybody that I ever met, okay, that is suffering through depression or something like that. What they do, they hide on their cocoon.
Yeah.
They stay at home in the room. They are alone in their own thoughts, and when you do that, your thoughts are negative, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, why me? Why is this happening to me? And then usually people compare with somebody else that supposedly is having a great time, but we don't know what they're going through, right?
Sure.
So what you do is so beautiful. I really want to thank you because it's so beautiful because you take them out of that cocoon
Thank you.
and you take them out in nature where there's another energy, right?
Yeah.
And then they realize that, because usually when people are depressed, they think they're in the worst situation, that the problem is the worst. Nobody in the world has a problem like them or us, because I've been there too, right?
And another thing about that is, you know, I can't find a solution with the same brain that created these problems.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so for me, another thing that's been very important, which I don't think I mentioned, was having a relationship with a higher power. It doesn't necessarily have to be Christian or whatever, just something greater than myself, because I found people to be, people can be flawed, you know, and I've tried the psychiatrists and the doctors and the psych medications, and I just want to be raw and open, you know, because it hasn't all been peaches and cream. But if I have this greater power and I just have a little faith, then I'm not stuck in myself so much, you know.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And it's so powerful what you said. We had a guest last week on Kim Simsby, and he was saying the difference between people that are very successful and people are not. It says both have the same type of problems. They both have the same type of problems, right? But some people just let those problems stop them, right?
Yeah.
And the people that are successful, not only they overcame the problems, but they made it look like it was easy.
Yeah.
Right, and it was not easy.
No,
it was not
absolutely
easy.
not.
There's always going to be a struggle,
Yeah.
and I learned that when I was quite young. And the idea came to me is because the universe is in a constant state of change, right? That's where we have problems, right?
Yeah.
It's like this person won this, but this person won that. There's going to be a challenge somewhere, right? Person A wants to go from here to here. Another person wants to go from here to here. There's going to be a traffic jam somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
that's
And that's
true.
going to make you be late or whatever. So, but when we learn that, hey, this is something that happens to everybody,
Yeah.
right? And by you getting 4 or 5 people together, what is very powerful, I can hallucinate, is that they go like, oh my God, my problem it was not that bad, you know.
Yeah.
When I hear somebody else's, right?
Yeah.
But we get together, we have an experience. You take them out of that negative
Yeah.
state and you give them light. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and I also like to acknowledge that I still fall short. I've made a lot of progress, but I fall short, and I still, you know, the depression creeps in sometimes, or I do things that maybe I shouldn't, and that's okay. I'm a human being, and
Yes.
I fall short.
Yes,
and I really
and
love
it's normal,
to,
and that's normal.
Yeah,
That's natural. That's very
exactly.
normal.
And I
you know?
love to remind people that that's okay, but just take a moment, regroup, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, and then use it to grow and move forward. I think that's essential.
That's very part, and you're very humble. I appreciate you saying that, you know. But most people think they have to be perfect, right?
Oh, gosh.
They have to be perfect. Now everything they have to be perfect, and that's why you have to be very careful with labeling yourself, right? Because some people say like, oh, I'm like this person, and then it's like you're always gonna feel like you're not all the all the way there, right? So I learned that when go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think it's a Japanese word, wabi sabi, which means
wabi sabi,
beauty in the imperfection.
Oh yeah, and I think I read about that. It's like when you have like a jar or something and it breaks or something, and then that's what makes it unique, right? If you look at like coins, right? Let's say like coins that are money. One coin that or even a bill that has a mistake, like 20 years later is worth like 100 times more than the regular bill that was perfect, right? So it's a beautiful.
Unique.
There's a beautiful story about this guy that was carrying. I don't know if you ever heard that was carrying. Just imagine somewhere in the country, right? And he's carrying these 2 jars with water, okay, from point A to point B with a stick that is holding them. Have you heard the story?
Maybe.
Okay, so he's carrying a stick. Just imagine this guy has to take water from this house to another house, right? So where the water is, so we just turn the faucet on, so we can relate to that, right? But in other countries, they have to walk miles just to either get water or to bring the water, right? So this guy's carrying the stick with these 2 jars, heavy jars of water, taking it to one house, right? So guess what happened? Unbeknownst to them, one of those jars was broken, right? So he's going all the way over there, and just imagine if the jars were talking to each other, right? So one is saying like, oh, you have a little hole over there, you are broken, you're no good, I'm perfect, right? And the other jar that has the hole, right, is going like, oh, I'm no good, oh my God, why you made this to me, whatever, right? So, but guess what happens, right? After a while of that trip, right, you look at both sides of the road, right? The one where the jar was perfect just looked like a regular field. The one where the jar was broken because there was water coming out is all full of flowers and so beautiful, right? So in your imperfection might be a gift for others. Just remember that, right? So we're not perfect. We're not designed to be perfect, That's a stupid thing we put in our brains, right? So when I went on my journey actually of releasing my weight, and I got rid of 50 pounds that I no longer carry around, and I feel fantastic about it, I was trying to be perfect, right? And I said, you know what? It's going to be very, very stressful for the rest of my life to be perfect. So I gave myself permission to mess up 80% of the time. I said, you know what? 80% of the time, I'm going to be in control of my exercise, my nutrition, and things. But the other 20%, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to fall off the wagon. I may eat something that is not good, but without guilt. Or if I enjoy something, without guilt. So it's okay not to be perfect, okay? So Chelsea, great story. We're going to be right back, so you don't want to go anywhere, because we have more to share with you. You're in Manifesting Your Dreams with Pablo, Miguel, and Chelsea, who is amazing. So we'll be right back.